I can only pronounce the word engineer. Beatrice, good morning. Jeremy, Jackie.
Morning.
Hannah.
Morning.
Nice to see you all. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a good time and good start of the weekend. And now also start of the December holidays, and we are here to learn still. So I'm happy, I'm excited. Great. Yeah. So maybe we can start in the interest of time. I also do understand that there are many competing priorities. People want to do many other things. So we will try and make it extremely engaging. At the same time, make sure that we're interacting, we are learning, and finishing good time so that you can go for your other activities.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe we can start off with a word of prayer. Who would like to pray for us? Beatrice, would you like to pray for us?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you, Lord Jesus. We want to thank you so much for this beautiful day that you've given us. We thank you so much even for this session that you're going to have. We pray for your guidance. We pray for your wisdom. We pray that you be with us and you enlighten us in everything that we need to know. We pray for Catherine to give her strength and guide her throughout the session. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, all joining here for integrating coaching solutions, good seminar, and for us to be able to get to share and to understand what coaching is, how we can mainstream coaching at our workplaces. And I'm sure maybe if you're working in HR or if you're in your own consultancy or business, we'll be able to share much more how coaching can improve performance at the workplace and how we should use it. I'll also try and demonstrate it with a short video. I hope I'll be able to mainstream that as we go along. Allow us not to have a break, because then it disrupts the flow of the recording should then want to upload it and other people to watch it in subsequent days. Is that okay? So I ask you to unmute yourself in terms of your expectations, what you would like to, what you are hoping to take away today. One or two people, tell me before I introduce myself. We are a nice small boutique class right now. Anyone? Christine, welcome. Anyone in terms of expectations, what we want to Jeremy can't hear, but can the rest of you hear me? Can you hear me? Beatrice, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Catherine. Very clear.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. That's good. Okay. Do you have any great expectations from this webinar?
Yes. You know, coaching is something that is very key in leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the other day I was telling my GM that, you know, it's very key. It's very key for her to be doing, you know, coaching. I had a department, and I think this was very key for me to attend and just learn the aspects of coaching.
Oh, fantastic. That's good. Yeah. Key to coaching, why coaching is important at the workplace, and how can we coach to effectively improve performance and to get performance going, you know, a great solution for what it is. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Great expectations around it. Okay. So let me introduce myself. I don't know whether I've interacted with some of you, or we have met somewhere in the HR circles. As you have heard from Dan, my name is Catherine Wamwangi. I'm a HR practitioner of many years. And I love everything about people. And that's everything that any HR says. So we connect, that's fine, because we are passionate about people and to develop people and to make sure that people are successful. And then I'm also an executive coach. I coach at all levels. I'm certified by ICF. ICF is the body that regulates coaching worldwide. I'm also a lecturer at CHRM on coaching. It's one of the units for CHRM PEB. It's examinable. And I also love training or facilitating training. And for me, it's nothing that there's nothing new under the sun. There are many new ways of doing things, but as also the good Lord says in the Bible, is that everything under the sun has already been done. It's just us to incrementally make it and make sure that we can be able to leverage on it and continually build on it and stuff like that. So that's me, and I'm sure that we'll be able to interact and share our experiences so that we come out sharpened and much better around this area of coaching. So when you think about coaching, and for us just to trigger our mind, there's a lot of thought around coaching and what is mentoring as well, and then what is counseling. Do those three sometimes mash and mellow with each other? Anyone mash and mellow with each other? What do we think? Is there a distinction between those? I see them sometimes used interchangeably. Anyone? Anyone? Use them very interchangeably, here and there, here and there, here and there, what it is and stuff. Anyone who'd like to see what it is? Anyone who'd like to try? Or the other question for you guys is that for us to discuss, anyone who has a coach, anyone who has a mentor, anyone who has gone to see a counselor? No? Anyone? Okay. So let me try and look for another piece of slide that will give us a good reference around those three, and also make sure that we are all aligned around this very good presentation that we want to get by. So how did I become a coach? I think that would be a good basis for us to start in terms of how I became a coach and what interested me in becoming a coach. What interested me in becoming a coach was, once upon a time, I used to work for this great organization. Everybody loves to work for a great organization. And we were having a discussion with my supervisor and asking, how can we take this organization to the next level? How can we improve or put ourselves to be the center of excellence, where we are so well, we are the ones who people look up to in terms of coming and wanting competition, wanting to look at us differently, and how do we delight our customers as well. So he said, I have heard about this thing about coaching, but I say people coach all the time. I mean, we expect managers to coach, because one of the things also in your key job descriptions at your workplaces, I'm sure you have something like managers are expected to do what? Managers are expected to coach and mentor. And then maybe the last one always over there is and perform any other duties that may be assigned by the organization. So it got me thinking, because most of the time people will come to your office and say, well, I need some solution. And HR is a solution provider. That's what I like about being in HR, because we're expected to provide solutions. But these solutions can sometimes be extremely emotional. They can be anxious moments where people don't understand how they are going through those kind of challenges or traumas in life. And we had a very good wellness program, but still, people would come and say, Catherine, I need advice on this. Catherine, this is happening. How can we do it? And it just started coming a bit more alive around the distinctions between coaching, mentoring, and counseling, because we had tried as much as possible to compartmentalize those three elements. So if it was things around counseling, heavy things that people were going through, then we had a wellness program. It's for me to be more empathetic and point out to the right direction. And then mentoring, because I had already had a mentor for many years, until today I still have a mentor, is to find out, this solution. I know it from a HR perspective. If you are looking for HR solutions or HR things, how we execute duties and responsibilities, then I would be better placed to be able to offer that kind of advice or support, and know that someone who does that and does it in the way maybe I've advised them to do it would yield the same results that I have gotten in the past. And then coaching, and when we think about coaching, how is this? And then we started doing some research. And then we found that many companies who use coaching really have propelled themselves to the next level. And that's how I got myself to go for coaching. And when we came back, it was really a good game changer. And I have been able to be a coach for the last 6 years, 7 years now, keeping my CPD points alive and active and stuff like that. So it's a skill that you have to learn, and everybody has the capacity to learn it, and everybody has the capacity to use it. And we will see how important it is for us to be able to do that. So why I have brought up this slide is for us to look at these three, the summary of coaching, mentoring, and counseling. And we also know that now there's reverse mentoring. Anybody who's familiar with reverse mentoring? Please let me not be the one who's having this discussion back to back. Welcome the new people who have just joined us. So yeah. Thanks, Rose. Rose, did you want to tell us about your mentor?
Catherine.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm happy to have you again this time.
Oh,
in
nice.
fact, toward the end of the year, and I'm so happy, and I thank God for you.
Thank
you have asked the questions, but I was trying to connect.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting you loud and clear. You have
Okay.
asked us about what is coaching, but you had even thought about what is coaching during the last year's training, and I got it very well, and I can still remember that you told us that coaching is about training or counseling or instructing an individual or a group of people on how to develop their skills or so that they can enhance their productivity. That is all what I can remember what you taught us. Please. Welcome so much, my dear. We are happy to have you, please, at this particular moment of time.
Thank you. Thank you, Rose, for welcoming me. And I'm sure that we are all peers and we all learn from each other. So we'll try and look at making sure that we analyze what you have said in a way that is practical, and that people can go knowing that the distinction between coaching, mentoring, and counseling. So they're all learning methods. And we come back and say, how are they executed? What is the big question when I say that I'm being coached, or what I am if I have a team that I'm coaching, or even an individual that I'm coaching, what does it mean? The question that I will be asking is how, and we will look at a practical aspect of how, in mentoring, then we are asking about the what. And in counseling, we are asking why, and then the focus of these three areas. In coaching, we are saying about the present, because we want to achieve our potential. In mentoring, we are talking about the future. This is how I want to be the best HR practitioner in this town. You are preparing yourself, and you're getting a mentor to be able to impact the knowledge and share with you their experiences for you to be, what do I really want to be, and how am I going to get there? And counseling, we are saying why. what happened? And of course, we will look at counseling from a perspective of it coming alive to the fact that there could be some traumatic experiences. There could be some challenges that we are going through, which causes emotional instability, isn't it? Instability around, I need help. I can't understand what is happening. And it could be around, we've all known that maybe some of us have lost our loved ones, which were very dear and close to us. And that moment is bleak. You don't know where to start. You don't know where to end. The pain is deep. The pain is cutting, and it cuts across, and you just wonder, whoa, what do I do? Or maybe you've lost a job, either through retrenchment or through unfair means, unfair termination. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, did they have to do that to me? And that's also a very difficult time. So in life, we'll come through circumstances which really destabilize our lives. But what do we do? There are solutions. There are avenues for us to be able to get help. And that's why we say therapy is an important aspect. And let's embrace therapy. One of the things is that we also know that counseling sometimes has been amplified and stigmatized for a long time. But as HR practitioners, we are coming out with wellness programs for us to be able to support our people and to be able to know that they can come, because we've created safe spaces, safe environments for people to come in and speak and have an avenue for them to be able to vent, and also to be able to go to experts for them to find that solution. So let's be quick to listen. Let's be quick to observe the environment. And the environment, I mean by observing our customers, who are the most important assets. Those are the people why you wake up in the morning and go and serve them. There'll be life-changing moments where relationships at home are not working, and maybe that's going to cause disability in someone's performance. There could be areas where you've lost a loved one, you've lost a job, you lost your source of income, maybe your business has just gone down. There are big ticket items in your life that will come. But again, there are also nice things that come in your life. Like let's say you meet a life partner, and your life partner, and you think, oh, we're going to get married. You still some religions will say, well, let's go for counseling. They'll require you to go for counseling and to get some bit of understanding about this new life that you are going to begin, what it means and how you can settle in. I think those are life good changing things. I keep on saying, if I won a lot of money, 200 or 300 million, what would I do with it? Would I go for counseling? Would you go for counseling? Someone unmute and tell us what you would do. Do you think it is worth going for counseling? That's a big windfall for you. Anyone? What would you do? Would you be brave enough to come and say, I need counseling? Anyone? What would you do with your 300 million? One day you go for sports betting or whatever it is called, and then 300 million jackpot, you're the one. People tell me I would resign the following day with crayons. I've gone. Or, I'll be going soon. I'm the new millionaire in town. And of course, when you look at it from a very serious point of view, it's a game changer. You would need some counseling around the fact that your lifestyle is going to change. Your friends of your friends of your friends will come and say, do you remember me? We used to sit with you in class 1. The same, you are my deskie. And now, we haven't met for many years, let's rekindle our relationship, our friendship, and many things. People would come from the woodworks. We've seen all that. And of course, even when you look at how people have been able to use their windfall or fortunes, which they were not expecting. Some have misused it and some have done great things out of it. So it's always said that have a financial planning, go for counseling, know what needs to be done so that you're able not to misuse that opportunity or that chance that has come your way. So the opportunities to be able to use counseling. And I keep on saying, for HR practitioners, there's never been a good time for you to look after your mental wellness, because you deal with people and you hear all sorts of things. And sometimes those things can be heavy, and you need to get an avenue for you to be able to express them, especially if you have programs in your workplace that can support you in that. So that said and done, another experience that I have around counseling is, and that's important at a former place of work where I used to serve, was if let's say we got a new employee, very fair company, very well structured, and there was going to be a big jump in your pay. And I could see it. Sometimes someone comes, they're earning 100K, and they have jumped to 600. I've seen those kind of jumps, and then you would say, why were they at 100 and why now the job entry level for that job was 600? It's just that they had not gotten the right they've gotten a better opportunity, not right opportunity. So let's say where they worked was 25th percentile company. Us guys were slightly above 75th percentile in the industry. So it meant that where you are sourcing amongst your competitors at that level, but you are sourcing also in the markets within your other lower level competitors. So you get these good, very well liked in the 25th percentile. They are the guru, and this is the person that you want. And you ask them, sometimes you ask, which is unnecessary to ask someone how much they are earning. But that question was pertinent for us to know, not to gauge you where we will put you, not at all, is to see if there is any significant change that is going to happen in your lifestyle. And lo and behold, we asked that person when I was giving the offer, and I said, for us, because it's a big jump for you, we will need you to go to a financial advisor to have you articulate your new lifestyle. And they were just like, oh my gosh, I never thought about it like this. That connection and making sure that at onboarding stage you connect calls for a good employer to look at the people and to value people and to make sure that the connection, the collaboration is there to stay. Very happy. Of course, you're happy with the 500,000 increase, but you're also happy with the support that the organization is going to give me. You can imagine how that person goes out feeling around the kind of support that they are being given with their new lifestyle. Don't you think that will be a person who would like to stay and you'll be able to retain that talent? But you're also making sure that you're selfish to yourself as an employer to make sure that the people who come in, you've already give them all the tools, the apparatus to make sure that they stay. And so not that the first day they get all the money, they're excited, they forget to come to work for the next 2 weeks, and then they come when all their money is finished, And you also make sure that they now, if they enjoy their drink, quote unquote, I'm not saying that it's bad to enjoy your drink. I'm just saying that people who enjoy their drink are not caught with the melee of now I'm earning so much money and would lead to other things. So we encompassed all that to make sure that we were ready and the employee was ready for their new lifestyle. And of course, there were all these financial planning webinars put on the learning portals and stuff like that. So the focus on coaching, back to mentoring, back to counseling, and why I wanted to emphasize there is because then there will be issues that you're not able to deal with, and let them be taken to the right experts. Sometimes HR, we take a lot, and sometimes it can drain us and makes us not focus on our core mandate, which is to support the business. The aim The aim of coaching is to improvement of skills, and we will see that. Mentoring is developing and committing to learning goals. This is what I want to do. Maybe I'm new in HR, and now I have a big project in job evaluation. For example, you go to your mentor and say, what is this all about? How is it done? What should I be? What are the most important things that I should know around a job evaluation? How is it going to be received by the employees? How is it going to be received by management? Who can support me if I'm going to be working with a consultant? What should I do to make sure that I pick the correct consultant? From pricing to the delivery to the methodology. You learn and you are given everything. If someone is really good at job evaluations, they give you everything that you need to whatever. They mentor you, they prepare you for you to be able to execute the role. And then in counseling, the aim is to overcome psychological barriers which would have come because of one thing or another. We know that life is not a straight line. There will be curveballs that are thrown to us. And when those curveballs are thrown to us, how do we manage them? Like some of the examples that I have given. Then finally, in terms of the objective of these three areas is what's the objective of coaching? And I like what Brit said. I've been having a discussion with my line manager, and how can we mainstream coaching at our place of work to spur productivity, to improve efficiency, to create independent thinkers. That's where we want to be. And of course, it's to raise competencies. What are competencies? Competency are abilities, they are skills, they build upon the attributes that we have, and then the competency is the whole chain that comes with a person. The competencies of a HR. If we talk about the competencies of a HR, what are the competencies of a HR? Competencies of HR, competencies, it would be this and this and that. And then would be you have good skills. The other one is you've got good skills. The other one is you've got the experience, and then the attributes. The attributes you could be good communication skills, good negotiation skills, ability to keep confidentiality, and all that. So to raise the competencies of who you are. And then in mentoring,
Catherine,
yes,
Catherine,
yeah,
pick your phone.
yeah. Okay, I will. Hold on. Okay. Give me a minute, class. Sorry about that. just needed to do 1 or 2 housekeeping things with them. And then for mentoring is to raise, open new horizons. And finally, the one for counseling is to build build self-understanding back to where we are and to be able to move on to the next thing. Okay. Any question, any feedback on the 3 learning areas? I just needed to distinguish between coaching, mentoring, and counseling so that we are all on the same page. Anyone would like to also to weigh in terms of what they have done differently at their workplaces or any experience that you have? Anyone? Anyone who would like to say anything about it? Okay, great. Feel free to weigh in when you come in. Okay. So what's the definition of coaching? So nice that Rose was able to weigh in and say it's nice to be back and just to understand where it is. As I said, that ICF, International Coach Federation, is the body that regulates coaching worldwide. And ICF defines coaching as partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Very well put is that coaching is a partnership where we all, both parties come together, whether it's one-on-one coaching or whether it is individual coaching, you know, or group coaching, sorry, one-to-one or individual or group coaching, where you come together and we look at how a line manager can be able to use coaching as a style of leadership to be able to partner with his team, the people that he supervises, in a thought-provoking way to and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Take your phone, think about your phone. How much do you really, are you able to say that this is my phone? And for me as Catherine, then what do I do with my phone? My phone is for receiving calls, for sending messages, for maybe checking, for doing transactions on M-Pesa. Once in a while, I can be able to check my emails. It does enable me to check my emails, not in the very context I would like, because I want a big screen. I want to make sure that I'm able to move from one slide to another, or from one program to another, Word or Excel or PowerPoint or whatever it is. And it also enables me, maybe I don't understand something and I quickly need to research, I can use that. But I'm telling you, the younger generation, maybe if you have children of who are teenagers, when they look at their phone and when they touch their phone, they've got all these apps. They've got all these things that they do, and you ask them, so how did you do that? But you just do it on your phone. So that's what I'm trying to say, that as human beings, we never just reach our full potential. You know, we never just reach our full potential to where we should be and what we should be picking up on. And that is where you come and say, how am I able to reach my full potential? Remember what coaching aims to achieve from our previous slide, where you come and say, aims on improving skills in someone, for them to be able to do what? For them to be able to reach their potential. So that's where we want to be. Think about Eliud Kipchoge. Do you think he has reached his potential? He's unlimited in terms of his ability to run a marathon under 2 hours. And he finally said, no human is unlimited. When you think about someone who really driven her career to the next level, improved in a way that the Hollywood and how competitive Hollywood is, our very own Lupita, you know, when she won the Oscar, she said, I have driven myself to be able to know that dreams are valid, and I pushed it and I opened every door. I did my best. I was among always auditioning and practicing and making sure that I reached where you are, and I was given roles that were really important in the film industry and what got there. So for me, my challenge is that, are you really reaching your full potential as a human being in whatever you aspire to be? You know, and always think about, when you think about yourself and say, my phone, am I reaching its full potential? Then you transfer it to yourself and say, have I really reached my full potential? So thought-provoking. What is thought-provoking? You ask questions which are relevant in that goal that you have set for you to think differently and to think out of the box. Don't organizations tell us that you have to think differently? Let's think differently and let's do things differently. Let's be creative. Let's be agile. Let's be innovative for us to be able to beat competition and also to provide solutions and products to our customers which are unique, and so that we remain competitive. So everybody has innate ability to be able to do more. So coaching has to do more with inspiring a thought-provoking engagement and essentially holding one accountable in what they have set out to do. That's the most important thing, is that you are holding someone accountable and you are not giving them the answers to be able to implement their goals. So they're the ones who come up with the options, they're the ones who come up with the solutions, and they're the ones who come up with the implementation. When you think about it, that helps people to be more productive and to be more sustaining and to be more independent at their workplace. So coaching is a process that can be offered in different situations and different environments based on the needs of the individual. The term coaching typically refers to methods of helping others to improve, develop, learn new skills, find personal success, achieve aims, and manage life changes and personal challenges. It could be a challenge. I want to be a HR director, and in another 5 years, how am I going to get there? It could also be a personal challenge of saying, well, I want to lose 20 kilos. I feel that I need to take better care of my health, but I'm struggling. Let me go to a coach, and a coach to be able to help me to be able to see what it will be. So looking at yourself and saying, I really want to change, and I really want to beat I want to set some goals, but these goals, I feel stuck in these goals. Who's going to help me articulate those goals for me to be able to move forward? Okay. Any question, team? Up to there? Any questions? Any questions? So what would you say is the importance of coaching at the workplace? When you think about, Beatrice, when you think about it, you had already said one is to spark potential. There could be as many as we are. When you think about maximizing people's personal and professional potential, holding people accountable, getting better engagement, having people who are more independent at the workplace, what would you say are some of the benefits of coaching if you went to a coach? Anyone?
Hi, how are you? Do you get me?
Yes, I
Hello.
get you.
Thank you. Thank you for the lesson. I really love it. Yes, I can see there is a thin line between coaching and mentoring.
Yeah.
Because I was, sometimes we use it interchangeably, and people think coaching is mentoring, others think mentoring is coaching, but I can now see there is actually quite huge difference. And thank you for clarifying that. But I really want to say that I really want to say that coaching, of course, can help develop people. They can develop their skills. People can become successful through coaching, because the more you coach, the more they learn to become independent thinkers. The more they, of course, learn to set goals for themselves and strive to achieve such goals. The more even they be able to address their own personal challenges. Individuals, I work with the government, and of course, we have a lot of employees have a lot of personal challenges, even at workplace. And from this definition, I can now tell that, of course, coaching can also help to improve for individuals to be able to address their own personal challenges, not necessarily at workplace, even at home, even away from workplace, and a lot of other challenges.
Yeah, true.
They can be able to deal with personal challenges. But my question is, and this is just like to provoke our thinking. And I would really want to know, how do we streamline this coaching across various sectors that we have, or across a number of spectrum? Maybe you can assist us how we can, maybe, because this, to me, this is a cross-cutting issue. And so coaching, because everybody will want to be coached. And how do we develop coaching mainstreaming guidelines, such that we can be able to use the same guidelines to mainstream this coaching across all the sectors and spectrums and a number of other areas where we work. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. And also letting us know that you are working in the public space, which is the biggest contributor in terms of human development, because you exist to give service to the citizens. And one of the things I keep on saying is that we are able to mainstream coaching in every sector of the economy, be it in government, be it in non-government organizations, be it in corporate, where it's cutthroat in terms of wanting to make profits and to be able to move forward. I don't know, Jeremy, whether you know that the government is very high on coaching. I think there's even a directive in one of your key performance indicators or performance contracting, where managers or supervisors are expected to coach. I think there's something like that. I could be wrong, but I could find out. And that question of how can we bring coaching at the workplace and for people to be able to be the ones who are pushing the agenda instead of relying on their supervisors to be able to give them more solutions, I think is a real good question. And that is the basis of why we are here, to be able to see how best can we, as supervisors or leaders who provide solutions to the business, or who are expected to provide solutions to the business, how can we bring them in? How can we bring in those solutions? And how can we be able to support with data and with facts and with experiences that we borrow outside here? So thank you, Jeremy, for that. I will continuously talk about it, how managers can be able to mainstream coaching at the workplace. I think the most important thing, just before
maybe I can just do a contribution, if you don't mind.
Welcome.
Thank you for this very interesting and very important training for all of us. I appreciate what the public service is doing. It's trying to make all the government departments or the MDAs to mainstreaming coaching and mentoring in their programs. And I think they had a cohort of 2021, they trained quite a number of them at the Kenya School of Government, and they have been following them. They will be doing their evaluation, and they have called for the next cohort. I think they were starting to train them December and January. I know the institutions have been challenged in terms of budget cuts, the austerity measures that saw training being rationalized to 100%, but I think they will continue even to January, because I know coaching is one of the is a good skill, and it's helping people. Many people become very confident, and they are able to change their lives, to become better and also improve their performance. I can just I appreciate what the public service is doing. And it's part of the performance, actually part of the performance contract. And even in our submission for balance scorecard, which is a tool that we use to evaluate the staff's performance, there is a target on coaching and mentoring. Thank you. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Irene, and thank you, Jeremy, once again. So what was the criteria, Irene or Jeremy, if you know, or anybody else, of what's the criteria, what criteria was used to select the people who are going to go for coaching? Was there a criteria? Is it top managers? Is it middle level managers? Or is it across all cadres?
It's across all cadres because the letter comes from the CEO from public service to the, the CEOs, and they are asked to nominate some staff to go for coaching.
Okay.
Definitely the supervisors, the supervisors praise a lot, a lot in that. And for us, we started nominating the department, the staff from that department that deals with the interns and attachees in our institution. And then we take one person from the commandate and another person from the corporate service or support staff.
I was in another training yesterday where we were also discussing about coaching and why it was really interesting to hear what the government is doing. And I'm happy that you are confirming that and validating what we discussed, is that there is a big clamor around new graduates. A graduate, you could be anything, a certificate holder, diploma, degree, new graduate coming into the market. The government is putting a lot of emphasis around coaching and mentoring for people who are going to support this new entrance into the government, to give them the induction, of course, on how government works. When you start young, I think you really get to understand as you grow up the rank of being in the government or in the public service, then it gives you a good whatever. But the government is putting a lot of emphasis here on new graduates or new recruits into how, and one of the things that they are saying, that coach them, mentor them, for them to get the good culture, to make sure that and they understand the culture, they understand the technicalities of working with the government, and also to make sure that whatever expertise they are bringing on board, they're able to do what? They're able to bring it, and making sure that they are making a difference. I think that is important. And also the government taking time now to think, what is coaching? And if we say that we want supervisors to coach, what do you mean? Because people just think, oh, coaching is showing people what needs to be done. I can end this seminar now, this webinar, when we all understand that a coach will never give you a solution. We come, we understand what your goal is, and you go out looking for your own solutions. Imagine when you look for your own solutions. And this coaching, what I like about coaching is not just about at the workplace. You can use coaching anywhere. You can use coaching, especially if you have teenage children. It's a fantastic way for them to be able to own and say, oh my gosh, I need to go to university. What will I be studying? Let them have that deep discussion and ask relevant questions. Let them be the one owning it and saying, I've seen it. Aha. When a coachee gets to an aha moment, when you're coaching, whether it's a group or whatever, and say, I never in my wildest dreams thought I would ever get there. The aha moment is a big breaking point for any coachee and for any coach. We just do a high five and say, that's it. Can you imagine? That is it. And even at the workplace, that is the aha moments we want every day to be able to say whatever. I am not saying that, well, because it is a skill, you use it every day. And when you practice, you get better and better at it. It becomes almost your DNA, your default way of leading people. You get what I mean? But I'm not saying that today I am going to wear the hat of coaching. I'm a coach today. No, you want natural conversations with your people. Coaching builds a level of trust that I trust you to go and look for a solution. I trust you to come and do a much better job compared to what you were doing before. I trust you to own it and to be able to deliver. Can you imagine if someone tells you that? So it's natural conversations. And then you don't say, oh, today I'm a mentor. Today I'm only mentoring. You know, sometimes you'll go in and out of these inroads because we are natural human beings. We are social human beings, and we want to make sure that we are actually having the right kind of solutions to be able to give to people. The other thing I'd like to say is that culture plays a big part in how we are going to mainstream coaching at the workplace or in the environments that we are in. If we have a bad culture, and how does a bad culture look like? Or what is a bad culture? Or a toxic culture? Or a culture that is not open to learning, and a culture that is not open to listening, a culture that people feel that they would rather not be here. Even if you have good values, you have a good strategy, but we are not looking at the culture, you will struggle mainstreaming coaching at your workplace, because people will just say, well, they're just talking. Now they've even brought another initiative. What is this coaching? And we can't even whatever. They're telling us that we are going to be independent thinkers. Allah, they're holding themselves like this at the coffee pot. Imagine wamekuja wakasema, sasa wameleta coaching. Hata to understand your coaching ni nini. Ati they will let us do our own things, and the way they micromanage us here. So it's important for us to make sure that coaching and the culture are in tandem for it to be successful. And when I talk about a bad culture, what are examples of a bad culture? Anyone? A bad culture? And who brings about bad culture? Who creates it? Because in all intents and purposes, we always want to have a good culture. We are people. Everybody has good intentions. What's a bad culture? How does it look like? How does it make us feel? Anyone? We all work in cultures, or even our country. What kind of culture do we have? Anyone? Let's interact. Lots of you in this class. Anyone who'd like to try? Irene?
I can try.
Yes, yeah. Thanks, Winnie.
So good morning. I think for me, a bad culture mostly is brought by leadership, and of course, generally all employees as well. I mean, everyone can play a role. And then a bad culture is also brought about when you have, certain laid down standards and procedures, and the people who don't follow them. Maybe they believe they're beyond the rules and all that. So that brings a lot of confusion in bad culture, because there are people who will automatically see no reason to do what needs to be done, specifically in the workplace.
Exactly.
So that is, yes.
Yeah, they want to thrive in chaos, anything, when it's like this, they just want to cause confusion and for us to be able not to understand. Yeah, brought about by leaders not role modeling the values that we have, our underlying philosophy, the values, our mission statement, our vision, and start. And then after that, when people see the top is not doing what needs to be done, even us guys can do what needs to be done. After all, who is holding each other accountable here? Okay, great. Irene?
I would think it also is as a result of, I think, bad corporate governance, and you find out there are a lot of malpractices in an organization, and a lot of staff complaints that is, bad work environments. I think that's what I can contribute. Bad culture.
Yeah, bad culture. You've actually hit it on the nail on the head, just like what Salome said. Your corporate governance, how you are governed as an institution, your ability to have tools and processes to be able to report malpractices, and you know that that's going to be taken and it's going to be investigated and it's going to be, action is going to be taken. Talks around much about how how interested or how serious it is for us to have good governance in an organization. But if we are the ones perpetuating bad malpractices at our places of work and nothing is going to be taken, no action is going to be taken, you are a recipe for creating a bad culture. Take it to the bank. Governance, if you abuse your policies and your procedures, if people cannot report and they are confident enough that they'll not be victimized, then you start creating that bad culture. What we know is that everybody has good intentions, every human being. If you did psychology as one of your new units at your university, is that, and I say psychology is a must for, it's a unit that is a must for everyone, because everybody has good intention. And then there's the self-awareness of who I am as an individual. What is my character? What were my traditions? What are my beliefs? Do they resonate with this organization? So if we are all alive to that, then we would not be having bad cultures. We would not be having a culture that is of impunity. For example, in this country, a culture of wanting to be corrupt, and it's some of us, not all of us, and things like that, but we also have a good culture around, we are resilient, we bounce back bigger and greater. We celebrate wins. We are kind people. We are warm. When people say, well, come to Kenya, we are warm, and stuff like that. So we have our beliefs and traditions. That's the same way that you have beliefs and traditions you have a culture at your home. You have then you bring that, you go out to the world and you find that you need to work within a set environment, and that environment has its own culture, beliefs and customs. So you see, so we are interconnected, we are interrelated. And for us to be able to spur our potential, we need spaces which create that environment. It's enabling. We are not saying one thing while saying another thing. We are not saying, okay, fine, this is what, but the environment, the look and feel, you can smell culture. You can smell it. It's like good fabric, and you can taste it, and you can whatever. Sometimes you're not able, we can't define culture, but we can only leave it for us to know whether it is what is plastered on the wall is what it is. And sometimes you can also just walk into an office and look at an organization, just like from the reception, how people are working at their workplaces, how they're interacting with each other. The reception, it gives you a vibe, whether this is a vibrant culture or whether this is a culture that is stifled, Yeah. Of course, we also know that every industry will form its own culture. The performing arts culture is very different from the culture of the health industry, the education industry, which other industry, the manufacturing industries. There could be some norms that have been put around that because of the kind of work that they're supposed to produce, or the kind of people, the clients that they are supposed to be serving. So that calls for us to understand that there could be some key distinctions around some of the industries that we are in. But in terms of collaborating, people just need to be seen and heard and make sure that that is done. So we'll reference culture a lot during coaching, because it's a good platform for us to be able to have a good way to be able to mainstream coaching at the workplace. Any other suggestion? Anything else that someone would like to contribute? Culture, reaching full potential. I was asking what was the importance of coaching at the workplace. Anyone, when you think about it? Okay, let's move on. So why is coaching employees so important? If every organization is putting in place that coaching is extremely important, And we know that coaching will be important for increased productivity and engagement levels. So coaching is an essential part of any manager's role for various reasons. Not only does it help teams improve their performance by receiving valuable support and feedback, but it also allows managers to improve their processes by identifying areas of weaknesses in their teams and also in the systems that have been put in place. Yet the biggest reason coaching is important is that it is profitable. And profitable is not just about money. It's not profitable money-wise. It is profitable in every area that we think would be profitable. Profitable to the organization, profitable to the employee. In terms of resources and time, people are able to use their time better. In terms of making money, because we become more efficient, we have a better return on our investment. In terms of employee engagement, people feel that they are supported and they would love to work in this environment. So profitable is the whole, it's the total sum of when you think about profit. It's not about just money. And of course, organizations make money, and that's why, well, what does the government do? The government does not make profit. The government exists to provide services to its citizens, and profitable the government is. And why would I say the government is profitable? Profitable because they continue reinventing themselves in terms of how to provide solutions to their citizens. Like, for example, a couple of years ago, we came up with Huduma centers where we don't have to go to the ministry. It's a one-stop shop where you go and get all the government services under one roof. That's profitable. You go in and make sure that you can get all those services and you don't have to go from one place to the other. So every organization has to show what profitability has been brought to the table, and let's say for an NGO, they don't make profits as well. But where do they consider themselves to be profitable? It's how they're able to impact the kind of programs that they give to the communities that they serve. Let's say they're providing water. If they dig boreholes and they provide water or build dams for the communities are able to get water with ease. It brings profitability in that area. So every sector of the economy has an ability to show profitability in the kind of work that they do. So that it is important for us to understand that. In summary, when coaching is effective, team members become more autonomous and self-sufficient. Autonomy, self-sufficient, we'll continue hearing that. As a result, coaching empowers the individual to take ownership of necessary actions, in turn making them more likely to do it on themselves and to be happy with the results. Don't you just feel so happy when you deliver sterling results for yourself? Exceptional performance, and you just are very happy. And for you to be able to produce that exceptional performance, if someone has given you the free form, go look for the solutions, come, let us discuss what could you do better? How have you done it? I did it and I didn't think I would do it. Look at it, and the results I've returned are exceptional, and you're happy about it. As we all know, no one's like to be told what to do. Nobody likes to be micromanaged. People don't like to be micromanaged. People like to be delegated to, and then you give me the ability to be able to execute and to come back to you if I have a challenge. Of course, you delegate, but you don't take away full responsibility because it is still your task. When coaching is on one-to-one or as a team, you can harness group discussions and self-reflection to maximize the results. Okay. So how do people feel when they're micromanaged? How do you feel? Anyone? Or you're okay to be micromanaged?
No, I feel like I cannot be trusted. I feel like my judgment is not, required. One of my personal values is actually freedom. So I feel suffocated as well.
Personal values is freedom. You know, that's a good one. Wait till you lose your freedom. Even when you are taken to the police station for just even going to report your own, you have this. Have you ever tried to go to a police station to report even someone has infringed on your rights? You feel as if, oh my gosh, you know, your freedom is being curtailed, you know, because again, the police, of course, these should be solution providers. But sometimes what the kind of fear that they have put in us is that even when we are going to report, they will still ask us all questions which we feel that they're invading on your space. But let me tell you, if you are a guest of the state, which I have not been, but people tell me just losing that freedom. You know, maybe you violated a traffic act in the morning and the police have said, no, meet me at the police station, and they put you into the holding cell before. It is a difficult thing. So value freedom as much as you can. Someone else? Thank you, Salome. I like that freedom as one of your core values. Someone else, how do you feel when you're micromanaged?
I think, Catherine, I feel like my focus is being killed, and the passion will no longer be there. The passion for me for doing what I like doing. I think those are two issues that are affected when.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Affected completely and precisely around, you know, I love to do this. This is what I've always done. I am very passionate about it. And then now, you know, there's no more passion. I don't want it, you know. And happy. Did you see the word here, happy? People need to be happy at the workplace. You must be intentional in bringing happiness as an organization, because that is where we spend all our time. You know, we spend our time, 8 hours we're supposed to be sleeping, 8 hours we're supposed to be working. The other 8 hours, I don't know where it goes to, but we do all these kind of things around the other things that we are passionate about, you know. So ability to create happiness and ability to continue engaging people cannot be underestimated. Someone else? Freedom, passion. Someone else would like to share?
I think,
how do you feel?
Yeah, it's good morning.
Morning.
Hello, do you get me?
Yes, we get
Yes.
you loud and clear, Jeremy.
Yeah, I think on my thinking, when you are micromanaged, you are not given that opportunity to be able to come up with your own ideas, your own, innovative ideas to problems. So you'll not be able to independently think and ensure that your own ideas can provide a solution to the problem that you have, either individually or at the organizational level, because most times you have to refer to another person. And you see that one will limit you from providing actual solutions to the problems that you either facing or the whole organization or department is facing, because constantly you have to refer. And so to me, that is a problem, because what we are saying, we have to become innovative in solving these problems. But if you are restricted from applying that innovation, then you'll not be able to have that solution that actually you needed. And then I think it also restricts you from having that self-reflection. You need to have a self reflection to be able to maximize your own potential, because now you are limited. You'll not be able to fully deploy some of the approaches that you need, which might maximize the results that you wanted, either at an individual level or maybe at the organizational level. Those are my thoughts on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy. Opportunity. I've picked that word. Time and chance happens to everyone. Opportunity is a great game changer at our places of work. When you give me an opportunity to explore my potential, I am able to be more creative, I'm able to be more flexible, and I'm able to get better results out of the responsibilities that I have, because I also don't want to let down the other person. Remember, the ability of us to interconnect and to connect with each other we also want to make sure that we have a good working relationship. I don't want to let my teammates down when I've been given this opportunity. I want to show them what that opportunity, what I can do with that opportunity. So let us purpose to give people opportunities at the workplaces, because it creates an environment of making sure that I think about the other person, not just me. The organization has seen it is me, Catherine, who can be able to deliver this. No. Then I have to show them, and I have to make sure that I get the other person going on right. The other thing about when, as a line manager, when you have an opportunity to bring in team members, as the hiring manager, please make sure that you employ people who are better than you, who are more qualified than you. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying in terms of, I'm saying in the real aspect of it. And when I talk about that, let me try and unpack it just a little. Bringing people who are qualified and are competent to do the job, you will be the manager of the year. If you are looking for a HR officer, that HR officer has the right competencies. Remember the word competence I use it. They've got the experience. They've got the skills. They've got the right attitude. You've measured attitude and know that they can fit in this organization and they can fit in my existing team. We must also be able to balance the teams. There's some people who are more introverted. There are people who are more extroverted. So even when you look at that pool of people, when you start interviewing, you are looking at your team. Always think of the end in mind. Don't just be focused on filling this position. Always when recruitment, I always say, think about the end in mind. How is this person going to fit into the existing team? How is this person going to be embraced by the existing teams? And finally, now, when you look at the person, when you're interviewing them, how can I make this individual to be successful? How am I going to make sure that this person is going to be successful? So when you think about those three things in your recruitment process, as you start thinking whom you want to bring on board, it gives you a better chance of bringing someone who is more experienced than you. You get what I mean? Who is better, a good fit, completely a good fit. You can sleep and say, that task, they know how to do it so well. I don't have to spend sleepless nights knowing that they are better. So always make sure that you employ people who are more qualified than whatever. I learned that trick long time ago, meaning that I'm bringing the person who's really good at that job. And I'm also making sure that I am giving them the opportunity to be who they are completely. Because then what happens, and around what also Jeremy has said, is about self-reflection. If I'm micromanaged, I now start thinking, no. This is not what I signed up for. And I don't go back and self-reflect and just say, well, what can I do better? If anything, if it goes on, the next thing I will be doing is looking for another job, looking at all the adverts that are there, talking to my confidence and to my people. If you see an opportunity out there, I am looking, and people say, oh, so why are you looking? And the first thing is that I know that environment is not good for me. They said that I would be able to work, but every time I'm given a task, they have to look over my shoulder 2-3 times. They don't trust me on what I'm supposed to be doing, or things just emerge. I'm not able to work with my supervisor. I have a teammate who's not able to work well with me and whatever. So let's not get there in terms of micromanaging. Micromanaging is one of the things that really make people think that this is not a good place for me to work. Okay. Anybody else who'd like to weigh in? Okay, let's go on. Okay. So allow me to come out of this slide now and to go to another presentation so that we can get to the principles of coaching from another presentation. So what do you think are as I'm bringing that presentation, what do you think are some of the very importance of coaching at the workplace? There could be as many as we are. Importance of coaching. Can see my screen? You can see my screen, guys?
We can see that, Catherine.
We can see it, Catherine. Okay. Maybe one importance of coaching. Oh, sorry. Did you want us to respond to that?
Yeah. That was whatever.
Okay. I think it really improves the communication. It can really improve communication at the workplace between the employee and the management. Yeah.
Okay. Very true. Importance, improve communication between management and the employees. Definitely better understanding. I'm able to go. I'm able to be more open. Someone else, there could be as many as we are here. Importance of coaching to both the employee and to the employer. Someone else?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I hope
that
coaching will also help in
Yeah.
self-awareness because it make a difference in one's either personal or professional life. Yes.
Yeah, makes a big difference to one's professional or personal life, and we're able to look at that. How are we going, and what needs to be done? What kind of support do I need for me to be able to grow in my career? Thank you, Rose. Someone else?
Good morning. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Good morning. To optimize on employees' performance.
To optimize on employees' performance, because then they're able to be independent thinkers, and they're able to get their own solutions, and then they're able to implement. Optimize on people's performance. Always think about the phone and how underutilized some of us use our phone. It's the same way that if our employers do not nudge us and give us the opportunity to look for our own solutions, we will never give them the best. Compared to if they give us that opportunity, they will see definitely different results. Someone else?
Just good morning, everybody. Just to add to what Catherine you've said and what you said about coaching does not give solutions. So it enables the employee to actually go out of their way in thinking. And this, I believe, helps the employees to own what they have done. You'd imagine if I came up with a solution as an employee and the solution goes very well with the company in accomplishing company's goals and objective, then it becomes autonomous. So that employee feels proud of what they do. And at the end of the day, it improves their confidence. I believe that it makes them even think wider, get out of their box and out of their shells. So I think coaching does that. Thank you.
Exactly. Very well said. Around getting out of your comfort zone, stretching a little bit more to be where you want to be, building self-confidence. I'm telling you, one of the things about coaching is the ability to build someone else's self-confidence. And there could never be a better time for what the government has done. And kudos to the government of bringing in the new graduates into the world of work and instilling that self-confidence, because sometimes people are unsure, are meeting these new people, they are much more older than me. They've got more experience. Definitely someone who's got more experience is able to be more expressive around what they know. And sometimes they can be intimidating. So we are trying to create an environment where that with all this knowledge that you have as a supervisor and all these new people who are coming into the world of work, how do we make sure that they have acquired the expertise and now to be able to put it in place, but with confidence? There's some people who are just very timid, and people come and tell me, Catherine, I know I'm timid, And I say, there's a difference between being timid and being shy. And are you shy or are you timid? And then they look at me and say, now you've introduced a different concept altogether. You know, and we start unpacking and then layering and stuff like that, you know. And I want to be more confident. I want to create presence when I am given an opportunity, maybe to make a presentation or to ask for something that I think is important for me. I don't want to feel that I am shaking, and I want to be able to say it with confidence. So ability to create confidence and a bounce, you know, when you're confident, you've got a good bounce, because, you know, I've been given the opportunity to be able to explore and to come back with my own solutions. And those solutions, I'm not only bringing them to the table, but I'm being given an opportunity to implement them. And implementing them, even if I failed, nobody is going to look at me and mark me down and say I'm dropping balls. I'm not saying people do mistakes deliberately. We are saying that some of the things that we want to try, even as an organization, sometimes we fail. We put up products and services which are not well received by the market or the consumer. We have to withdraw them from the market. You get what I mean? We go back and say, oh, wow, we tried so much. We put so much resources in terms of time, energy, money, but nothing. We failed in that project. But it's the same thing. When individuals fail in your organization, what do you do? Even if you have told them, go out, explore, implement, you will not mark them down. You will not frown upon them and say, no, that's it. But also we are saying that we need to map up the risks as we are doing that. So, you know, that people are not doing things deliberately to fail. And of course, if you have a good culture, that will not come up, because people know that my work also supports the other person. Remember the 3 things I have said about recruitment. Someone else? Well done. Builds very confident people and teams.
I can add one more, Catherine.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it will create a strong bonds between the teams in an organization, whereby it will help an employee to become more comfortable with their bosses, with their managers, with their leaders, and feel free to seek, help or guidance.
Ability to have better relationships with the whole, the ability to collaborate as people who work together. I keep on saying you have the same rights to work in this organization as I have the same rights, you have the same rights. The only difference that we have is that you could be working in a higher position compared to me. You might be the CEO, I am the janitor. We have the same rights. We bring in different expertise. And for us to be able to execute our strategy and meet our objectives is because we need each other. But as an MD, then I have more responsibilities. You know, if you're my manager, you have more responsibilities. I respect you for that, because then rank comes with privileges. It also comes with great responsibilities, higher responsibilities. But the same right that you have in terms of, if it's the MD, I have gotten into the office and we're all doing security checks at the gate. And it's the procedure, it's the standard procedure. The MD is behind me. He will wait for me because I am ahead of him to be cleared and go in. And he stands online. You know, those are some of the things I keep on saying in terms of bringing us together. You know, that right of using the same water, the same right of using the same medical cover. Sometimes it can be enhanced. I don't know why. That's a topic for another day. But in terms of those rights, that we feel that we are ascribing to the same values, then it gives us that collaboration, which Irene has talked about. Someone else? Someone else? Importance of coaching at the workplace.
Okay, do you get me? Hello.
Yes.
Hi.
Yes, we get you. Hi.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that coaching, or I think when we do coaching, we are able to make people own problems. So you cannot be able to blame somebody for any problem. You can be able to own, and of course become futuristic in providing solution to these problems. I think that one is very, very, very crucial. And then, as you said earlier, when you are confident, because of course, coaching develops individual confidence. When you are confident enough, it makes people to adjust to changes. You can easily adapt to new change in any organization. You don't necessarily have to go through a training for you to adapt to a change, particularly now in this era where we have technological changes, advancement in technology. You've been coached enough, you are confident enough to be able to adapt to any change without necessarily being forced into or something like that. And then I think this one also helps us to build that partnership or collaborations, you know, with either fellow workers, with managers, with your supervisors. You know, when you are properly coached, you can have that skill to build partnerships and collaborations, I mean, around your area of work. And you see, when we have partnership and collaborations and teamwork, we are likely to have a pool of ideas.
Very true. Thank you, Jeremy. Confidence builds better collaboration. Better collaboration brings in better efficiencies. Better efficiencies bring in more profitability. So when you think about coaching in the real aspect, the value that it brings to the organization and to the individual is fantastic. And changes will always happen. I mean, we all know about VUCA now, and the volatility of any business is right at your door. It knocks on you every day. The business wants to knock you down. The environment wants to knock you down. You know, think about COVID. It came, it disrupted everything. Some it worked in their favor. I mean, one man's meat is another man's poison, or one opportunity. There's also another thing around, my misfortune can be my whatever, your misfortune is my gain, or something like that. So how do we make sure that we are ready for change? That name, change. Nobody likes change. People are very uncomfortable with change. Even tell someone who has been sitting at a certain position at the workplace and tell them, oh, we'll be taking you to another place. It's a big conversation, you know, and sometimes it's taken very negatively. Oh, you want to demote me now you're taking me to the third floor. And maybe you just want to make sure that they're sitting next to their teams, or you've aligned job families and you want to make sure that you're sitting closer for collaboration. Check tomorrow in church, if you're a Christian and go to church and your favorite spot is taken by a person who is new to that church. You know, never thought, well, Catherine sits on the third pew on the left there, the corner, and everybody knows, you know, we are creatures of habit, and we don't like change. And maybe when you just look at that person and say, Kwanujune, and maybe when the pastor says, do we have visitors? Please stand up, we clap for them. And then you said, oh, okay, they are visitors. Okay, they didn't know, you know, something like that. So that's how we are, even in our own personal perspective, is that we want the tried, the norm, what we know, but anything small that comes to disrupt us, we just feel, oh, okay, no, I have to, this not for me. But in coaching, because we are agile, we know that we can look for solutions and look for them quickly, and to be able to think, are there other options? It's in a better space compared to an organization which just thinks, okay, fine, here is the change, we are doomed, there's nothing else that is going to come out of it. So you can see importance of coaching to the individual and to the work and to the employer. So different things we do, different things differently the things we did in the last century are very different from what we are doing now. We also know that now we are in the fourth industrial revolution. We had already started it, but it was accelerated by COVID, whether we liked it or not. The leveraging on technology was accelerated because of COVID. We were still thinking, okay, we can use this. But now social media is where, I mean, technology is where now we are emphasizing on our businesses. We have new jobs at the workplaces, you know, digital marketing managers, digital product manager, you know, because then now we are playing more in the digital space for people to be able to know who we are and to drive our business. So, and again, we also know that organizations have become more decentralized. So whether you have a head office in Europe or you have a head office in Nairobi and you have other branches, is that we want to decentralize for quicker decision making. It's not that all the files have to come to Nairobi, check what it is and whatever, take them back. Wrong use of resources. Decentralization gives us the opportunity to give feedback more efficiently, to be able to execute more quickly, and to be able to have independent teams. But of course, we also have a way of making sure that everybody knows what's happening. I guess we all feel very frustrated when we go somewhere and the right does not know what the left is doing, and it's the same organization. Then you are left wondering, are you making a loss in all this? How much loss are you making? Because then, okay, I don't understand. I have to check with my colleague in whatever in Nairobi. And I think one of the people that have really, decentralization has really worked in their favor is the banking industry. If you're in Malindi, let's say you opened your bank domicile in Malindi or whatever, long time ago during my age, if you remember my age, if you are in my age those days, if your bank account was in Malindi and you transferred to now come and live in Kiambu, what happened is that you needed to transfer your bank details to Kiambu. Nowadays, no. Whether you opened your bank in Kapenguria, KCB Kapenguria, you can be served in any part of the country because it's a centralized system. The left knows what the right is doing. So technology, again, leveraging on technology for you to be able to do that. It is very, very, very important. You know, we've seen that there are fewer management levels in organizations. We don't want that distance of power. That distance of power creates untold levels of false sense of authority, where you think, oh, wow, they even sit on the 8th floor. You know, for me to go to the 8th floor, I have to book an appointment and I'll only get that appointment 3 weeks later. You get what I mean? So fewer levels of management in an organization means, in every practical sense of the word, breaking down the barriers in terms of walls that a manager can sit anywhere. I like those organizations which have hot desking. There's some things that need to be done in private, so we still need to have some closed offices. But even in the layers of structure, we don't have a long, tall structure. They are much flatter for us to be able to have to bring in more efficiencies, and also for people to feel that there's no distance of power, which can really make people feel that they are not, everybody needs to stick on their lane. But now when you meet with the MD on the corridors, you're able to have a pep talk, you know, have a banter and say, hey, how is it going? What can we support you with? Or I did this last week. Did you hear about it? You know, if those are the kind of conversations we want to have, not when you see the board chair and the MD coming, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Which corner can I pass? And when they're passing, you are there at the corner, you're squeezing yourself to be very invisible. We still know that happens, but that's not in the 21st century. That's not what we want. So in terms of importance of coaching, we break down those barriers, and we have a better working environment, you know. So we've talked about all that. I will not go I'll not go word for word on this slide, because then we know that coaching is really the game changer in terms of opening up the communication around the whole entire organization. Anybody who would like to give an experience or weigh in on importance of coaching, what we have said? What we have said. Anyone? Okay. Remind me that one of the things it's about feedback, which we'll find here. So who is a coach? How do you become a coach? There's some good, I said it's a skill that you have to learn. There's a good 6 diploma class that is very practical. And you have to learn the principles of coaching like any other subject, or like any other career. It has the principles. We do have principles of HR, the principles of medicine, the principles of marketing. You know, we have principles, core principles, so that you're able to translate them practically when you start practicing coaching. They're also the competence which are required of a good coach. They are also the ethics that govern the industry or the career or the profession. So all these things, when you ask someone, are you a coach? Are you ICF certified? What is your coaching model? But we want to make sure that we are building a crop of coaches at the workplace. So what I see many organizations doing is that they support by taking their middle managers or a couple of people, like what the government is doing now, for coaching, maybe a 2 months coaching course, or even a 1 week, for people to understand what coaching is, because we cannot introduce something new that we do not understand what it is. We can also not introduce something new, a skill, give it to managers without people understanding. When I come back and I say, hey, now I want you to go look for your own solutions. I went for this training and this is what they said. It's important for us to create that culture. What Jeremy said, how can we create a coaching culture at our workplaces? It's a lot of work. So let me just say it's a lot of work, but that lot of work is well worth it when it is mainstreamed properly from the word go. So how about people understand what coaching is in the very true sense of the word, that we've heard about coaching, and coaching is a game changer for organization. We want everybody to embrace it. It means that as a leader, I will be letting you explore your full potential. I will not be giving you a solution to everything. I mean, and we will have those kind of discussions. We will have feedback sessions. You know, that is, you paint what coaching is. And then after that, you provide the skills to everybody, so that everybody is able to understand how coach, or what, when we use coaching, that indeed this is what coaching is. Many of the people who sometimes, and it's interesting, because sometimes an organization will send employees with poor performance for coaching, isn't it? We think that sometimes when there's poor performance, the best thing for us to do is to send people for coaching, isn't it? Is that the right thing to do when you think about it now? Anyone?
What I can say, Catherine,
Yeah.
you can hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
No, I can give an example of what we do at our organization.
Yeah.
We have a performance improvement plan policy, and every end of the year when we do the staff performance appraisal through the balance scorecard that we normally use as a tool to evaluate the staff, we use it alongside our mentoring and coaching. We have a policy for mentoring and coaching, the staff. So for those people who may not have performed as expected, so they are taken through the PAP, and there is coaching and mentoring them as they set targets to see how they can make up of what they did not score well. So this is the experience. I just want to bring it, and it has worked because we can see some people set target for 3 months, how they improve before the next quarter submission of their performance, and it has worked.
Okay, very well. Thank you for sharing that. The other thing is that, you know, in terms of by the time I'm coming to PIP, by the time I'm being put on PIP, PIP is not for the faint-hearted. It's it can also be very discouraging for someone. So is it possible for us to have had those very continuous conversations and providing feedback to an employee that you are not doing well? You're struggling here. And why are you struggling here? Can I get to know what is happening? And again, it boils down to the culture. You never know what this person is going through. They could be going through a real personal challenge. And if you have not created a work environment that is open, they might not share it with you, isn't it? So they would rather deal with it because this employer will never listen. If anything, they will gossip about it. They will not hold it in confidence. How sad of what it is. But coming back and saying if they're not going to open up and say, what is happening here? We know that you have been a good performer and all of a sudden, something is happening. Could you tell me why this is happening? And once that happens, then we need to have that conversation around, let me help you and let me support you. And if it's continuously not working, I'm going to put you on PIP. When we have feedback sessions for all the employees from time to time, continuously, and we know that there are two types of people who are open to feedback and people who are averse to feedback. We want to make sure that the kind of feedback that we give is helping the employee. And coaching is a good key driver because one of the principles of coaching is giving feedback. By the time you are putting me on PIP, which is now being documented, for sure I know I have failed the test of time. It won't even get me to the evaluation table, the final evaluation. I'll have been put on, let's say our end of year closes in December, for example, and the evaluation starts in November. I will have been put on PIP in June because there is no way. But it is very unfair for you to wait for a whole year. And then at the end of the year is when you are saying, you know, you've not been doing a good job. I am going to put you on PIP. It's a double tragedy for that employee. First and foremost, remember that putting someone on PIP is a very anxious moment for them. And you want to make sure that you support them even when you put them on PIP. But you are waiting until the end of the year to put me on PIP. Why didn't you tell me that I was dropping balls? You know, why didn't you give me an opportunity to explain myself, you know, and it just becomes, you know, the environment and the ability for me to trust you. No, then I think you all want me out. But of course, also, if I have put you on PIP during the course of the year, I will not maybe you have improved and everything is okay, I should not bring it at the evaluation table. But if I have not improved and you are still on PIP, it will be a topic or an agenda of discussion during the final evaluation. Catherine, you know you're on PIP and we have to have the final evaluation for this year. You have not been doing well. This is what you have been able to improve on, but you are still on PIP and we are going to continue putting you on PIP. Your final grade is going to be maybe below standard, you know, because it's below standard. That's the final grade. And someone will come and say, for sure, I agree. But a difficult time for that while at it. Anybody who'd like to talk about that? Feedback? PIP?
Yes. In fact, I remember I had an experience with PIP.
Yeah.
Which did not go very well. Of course, people really got discouraged. And also because there was feedback. So before the PIP, there was feedback, but it was general feedback. You know, the way someone tells an employee, you're incompetent, you know, that's too ambiguous.
Yeah.
So the employee doesn't even know, which areas they need to improve. They just sink, you know, into a place of, you know, self-esteem issues because now they feel there's something wrong with them. So as opposed to there's something wrong with their work. So I think for me, I learned from it that giving exact feedback to say that you may need to improve on your time management skills because sometimes this is what happens. You come late to meetings and you miss the big part. You know, just be as specific as possible for that feedback to be able to help a person improve. So PIP works, but in specific, and I like what you've said because it's built from a certain place. By the time the employee is placed on PIP, they already know. So it becomes really easy for them to improve or maybe to decide otherwise to leave because sometimes an employee can also decide to leave. Maybe they're just not willing to change or maybe they're not aligned. Maybe it's their time to leave. So I learned, I learned that through the process.
Yeah. So the thing is that we are looking at what you have not been able to deliver. Thank you, Winnie. The specific things. And that's, anyway, the thing is that because it can be very discouraging, it's because it is me now being talked about. I am the topic of discussion, but it should be the kind of responsibilities and work that you have given me. And maybe they are not aligned. Maybe I don't have the expertise. Maybe I'm not showing initiative. Maybe also my behavior is not ascribing to the values that we have as an organization. So, and that's a more difficult place for us to have a PIP discussion around attitude. What do you mean? What do you mean that what do you mean of rudeness? Rudeness is how do you, they start asking you questions where you think, okay, fine, how is this going? And that's why I keep on saying, even with your values, define your values. You know, we are so good at putting values on our charts and place them nicely in a very attractive way on our walls. Have you defined what personal excellence means? So that even when you're evaluating, because values should be evaluated. How have I lived the values this year? How have I gone over and above my call of duty to live the values of this organization? With clear examples, I ask people, so have you defined your values, the behaviors around your values, so that there is no push and pull? That around our values of personal excellence, around our values of integrity, what are the behaviors? How do we describe these values? And people say, no, but people know. People don't know. Unfortunately, people know, but they do not know. Because that is where they'll catch you 100% and say, well, it's different. If this company, the values of collaboration is being kind to each other, even when you come to them in the morning and say, good morning, everybody. You know, if I am not the kind of people who say good morning, which is unfortunate because it's common respect to everybody. Good morning, I'm leaving, have a good evening. You get what I mean? It just, we work together for 8 hours. So you can't come and say, nobody tells me, I don't say good morning to people. It's even the way they are saying it, you know. Oh, I didn't expect that I was supposed to say good morning in the morning. I have a friend of mine who in their home, their tradition, when they woke up, they never said good morning. So she used to find it hard in university. Mnasema good morning all the time. Why? Because it's a standard of the world. You know, so she had to learn how to do it compared to people sitting on their circles. How even you communicate to the other person will either give you good results or will break it further. So it's important for us to think about our tone. It's important to think about the time. It's important to think about the environment and what we want the results to see. When you always start with someone, we want to see the best in you. We want to see your success. It's a different game changer. You know, and as Winnie has said, it's also maybe a time for you to leave, to think that, hey, here, no, it's not working for me. we're antagonizing each other, and maybe I can look for another opportunity. Maybe it's not just working for you. Sometimes even during coaching, and it's for you not to tell them it's time for you to leave. It's for them to come to that realization where Jeremy said, let people reflect. It gives you an opportunity to reflect and say, maybe this is not good for me. Okay, great. Anybody else before we move on? Thank you for sharing all those experiences. Anybody else that has would like to share? Okay, thank you. So what are the skills that are required for a good coach? And why I say that is because everybody in the organization needs to understand what coaching is. What are the benefits of coaching? How is it going to improve us as a brand? When you position our brand that everybody knows that people want to join us, it creates brand visibility, and it raises your brand. Your employee value proposition is well defined, and people know that this is the organization that I would like to work in. You know, there are some organizations where they will put up an advert and they will not get anybody responding to them. We all know them or we don't know them. Yesterday, I sent a friend of mine who's looking for a change of, she's looking at changing her job. I saw an advert running and I saw, this looks like they had not put, but I just say they had put their, please apply to HR at, I can't remember, .com. Then I said, here's an opportunity. Maybe look at it. It's closing. Yes, it was closing yesterday. She wrote back to me and said, I know them. I can't touch them with a 9-foot pole. I didn't know them. I don't know them. And then I didn't call her because I was busy. But you see, in fact, the people already know whom they want to work for. Do people want to work for you? That's the question. Do you feel that if you are given this company, you would buy it? Or if it was gifted to you, would you take it? A simple engagement question. You know, would you refer your friends to come and work in this organization? A simple engagement question. In fact, those three will give you the engagement level of your organization. But if you are using coaching, then that will give you good progress in terms of people wanting to stay with you. So the skills of a good coach: ability to build rapport, ability to be empathetic, a good listener, good communication skills, understanding human behavior, emotional intelligence, ability to solve problems, for people to, the questions that you ask, and for people to be able to look into this. Flexible, yes, consistency in terms of how you present yourself when you say this is when we are going to meet, and ability to be able to make sure that the other person, you are able to accommodate the other person. Forward thinking and proactive, and enthusiasm and commitment for an individual. What is rapport building? And how do we build rapport? How do we build rapport?
Sorry, I feel like I'm talking too much.
That's fine.
I think for me, when I'm now looking at, another person, or maybe me being the coach, or another person being a coach, is that consistency in character, in the way they behave, in the way they do their things. But if it's too disconnected, today you're a good person, the next day you're doing funny stuff. So it's hard for me to know or for people to know what kind of a person I am. So building rapport also means I have to be a person my character is consistent.
Your character is consistent, that you can be trusted, and ability to be trusted, make sure that it naturally gets you into building a good rapport with someone. And how do you build trust? Trust is built over time. Trust is the consistency that we have spoken about. Trust is to be able to deliver what you have said that you will deliver at a certain time, meeting deadlines. That consistency that we see, that you do not go out of the line that we have agreed upon, setting those boundaries, and you are reliable through and through, this is what it is, and you're able to move forward for whatever. So That's important. So that's how we build rapport. Think about even when you met your spouse and how did you trust was incremental. You build a good rapport and you're able to finally come and say, well, you want to work together. How do we trust you that we want you to come and work with us? We put up the advert, you get to an interview, we ask you all the questions, we reference around our policy, the standards, we ask, as much as possible within that short duration of time, whether it's just one interview or many series of interviews, our engagement levels, the background checks that we are doing, all accumulates around wanting to start building the trust so that when you come in, we can continuously build that rapport. So trust is an important ingredient for any leader who wants to coach their team and to bring their team to the fore and to be able to do that. So understanding human behavior, I've already said, is that different people have different personalities. Do you know your personality? If I ask you, what's your personality? We only see the tip of the iceberg. And when people introduce themselves, they'll say, like what I said, my name is Catherine Omwangi, I'm a coach, I enjoy coaching, and that's it. But really, when you see the iceberg, it's what people say. But deep down, have we known who we are? Do we know our strengths? Do we know our weaknesses? Are we ready to be vulnerable around our weaknesses and to work on them? And the thing that about this world, what makes it very difficult is because we want to judge people using our own standards. And then if I'm in a higher position than you, I can also say, I'm going to use my ego. You're not going to get through it. That is what makes things go wrong. But understanding human behavior, the personalities that we have, and capitalizing on our strengths, on everybody's strength in the team to be able to forward and to move forward, like feed forward. I'd like you to look at feed forward. And then the weaknesses that we have as individuals to make sure that we are doing what? We are supporting that to be able to know that we can make improvements. Let's say I know one of my weaknesses, for example, someone comes and says, I'm a very impatient person. And you say, what are the triggers of impatience? How does it make other people feel? I want to change that. And you have the ability to be able to change it. When people say, no, I was just born impatient. Tell me more about being born impatient. Let's see how it is. It means that when you are aware of that behavior that can bring you down and not make you successful, and you start working on it, you're a better human being. I'm just that kind. I'm a poor listener. I know exactly what people want to say. No, you come through as arrogant. And you come through as someone who has not defined and has not found themselves. And it's in coaching. Then we love these people because we have good conversations around it. And they say, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I have all this world of opportunity and this one behavior. And the many beliefs that I have around it. This is how much they have antagonized others and antagonized me as a person. So change of behavior and attitude is extremely important. And also me as a coach, I do understand who I am and working on those weaknesses from time to time and find out what are the triggers that can get us there. Okay. Anybody who would like to weigh in on understanding human behavior, apt use of emotional intelligence? Anyone?
Well, I'll go. I think for me, one of the things I've learned, because I've had a fair share of, leading when I did not know myself and also leading when I knew myself. So, and I can only use my example, and there's definitely a huge difference. And that even made me become curious about my personality, become curious about, understanding my own issues, because you can't give what you don't have. I believe that. So I think that journey has been so because it's really key. Someone may be, and there could be the output or the behavior someone is showing, they could be the same across employees, but the underlying issues could be different. So I think that deep understanding that, it also gives you the ability to sit down and to ask what's going on, even giving that person a chance to explain. Even in disciplinary cases, this really is key, because there's nothing as I say, there's nothing as ugly as a manager or a leader now showing his emotions and getting angry and banging a table, because I've also had a boss like that. So you're left wondering, do you apologize on his behalf, or what do you do exactly? So I think, and it's a journey, obviously, it's a journey as well. So it's something that you grow in every day. And I believe all leaders need to do a self-awareness, kind of course, because for us to be able to help others, it is hard if you don't understand, if you don't understand yourself, now to try and understand others.
Exactly. Thank you. Everybody. And I'm telling you, I just keep thinking when I'm invited as a guest lecturer at the universities, the first thing I leave tools for students is personality tests. They are free. There are millions of them on the internet. The psychology class. I wish I was a CBC when we were called to give opinions. But I keep on saying that with your friends, with your nephews, with your nieces, with anybody, when you get an opportunity to talk to people, talk about self-awareness, because it creates a better environment, it creates a better society. And let's learn who we are. And also let's give feedback and honest feedback around, you, Catherine, why are you always late? Why are you, it irritates us. And give feedback to your friends and to people that you care about, and let them go to the internet and do those tests, because then you start to understand who you are. And also learn to ask for feedback. The kind of manager, I was made manager young, privileged at 25. I became manager. The next day it was announced, and of course we had gone through the motions and everything. Manager at 25 is very different, like what Winnie has said, for manager 50. And especially if you are deliberate about your leadership and your own success in your career and your success for other people. Because then when I look back, people have made me to be successful. And everybody owes gratitude to someone, using that journey. But I was also lucky because I worked for an organization which was very high on developing people and seeing where we can capitalize on you, where you are very good at, and leave the expertise of doing the work. But you as an individual, how do you show up? Your bright side and your dark side. And that dark side is worked on, and you embrace it and you understand it, So for me, that's why I started young. All those tools were availed to me, and we are saying that it's not availed to everybody. So even when we have that opportunity, let's bring it to the fore. Up to use of emotional intelligence, and let's know that we can always change and become better and better at what we do. So characteristics of a good coach: ability to be positive, ability to be supportive, ability to get to goal-oriented, ability to stay focused, and very observant. Observant is to look at the environment and say, what's happening here? Yesterday, of late, this person has been like this. This is how they are. Is there anything that has gone out or whatever? And if you have the opportunity to go and ask, well, you seem extremely withdrawn of late. Is it a good time for us to talk? What should I know? And maybe they might open up. Someone has showed care. Or they might say, this is not a good time. Maybe you've made the right observation and this is not the right time to talk. And then you say, feel free, I'm open to support you. I'm always open. Leave it open like that. And would you like me to check on you a week from now, for example? And you might not be the one supervising them directly, but you can see, maybe you're in the same department, but you can see that whatever, because maybe the manager is not that kind of a person. So learn your environment because then around issues of well-being, and if you are HR people, then we are we are expected to be like knowing everybody in the company, which we cannot, because especially if it's a big company located in various locations, that might not work. But in terms of really looking out and making sure that every time you interact with someone, you're able to find out where they are and how they're doing, and capacity building line managers as a strong business partner for them, then they will be able to pick up these things, because we want managers to be coaches, okay? Anybody else would like to weigh in, please feel free. So characteristics of a good coach, we say positive, not just correcting mistakes, finding faults and assessing blame. Instead, a coach function is to achieve productivity goals by coaching their staff to peak performance, supportive, get workers to do their job well. Goal-oriented is to make sure that they define clear goals. You know, some of the time is when we struggle to set goals. And what is a goal? How do we set goals, especially for lower cadre staff? So how many times can you, for when you set goals for a driver, when you set goal for a janitor, when you set goal for the office assistant, what are those smart goals that you can set in year out? Their work is very routine. Compared to a salesperson who is supposed to bring sales of 10 million this year, you achieve that. The board has given us a target of 20% increase. So you know that you can cascade down. Marketing will do things differently. Sales will do things differently. Production will be expected to produce things at much more. Now, is it machines that they're going to buy? Is it overtime? Is it shift that they're going to improve? You know, you have goals that are very tangible. But for supportive roles that it's year in, year out, how do you make them more interesting? How do you coach them more to be better at getting that? So those are some of the things as a good coach and as a line manager who wants to develop their people and for them to reach full potential, is that you can make people aspire to go to the next level. So those goals, as much as they are repetitive, but how do we make them challenging, and how do we make them interesting? Or how do we even just stop having those goals and give them something totally different as an organization? But then you will ask me, so how do we measure them so that they can get into the bonus schemes and stuff like that? So it's for you to look at different ways. If your industry is different, if your company can be more agile, flexible, then you look at how you're able to support them. Effective communication skill, we've talked about that, has to be very specific, observant, just keeping your ears and eyes open. HR is always the last person to, if people think HR knows everything. Oh, you poor HR people. They never know anything. They're always the last people to hear, you know, because then sometimes just people think, hey, I'll go to HR, I'll say this. No. But keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. And that means that you create an environment and a culture that is open, where people can come and raise their concerns, and also putting tools where people are able to do what? Where people are able to come and give you that information. Any question there? Any question there? Okay.
Not a question.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say that we as HR professionals, and maybe a good coach, our values be way above others in terms of our personality traits, character, attitude, avoiding of moods, avoiding of outbursts, communicating well, listening to others well, not you just talking and you don't listen to others. I think you are supposed to be always sympathetic to other people's situations, to be empathetic and such like things, Catherine.
Very true. You're almost supposed to be a perfect human being, which you can't. But you've really emphasized on the need for us to to ensure that we understand our emotions so that in every situation we know that this is what we are supposed to do. And sometimes it is okay to say that you do not know and ask for other people to support you, or to come and say, this is not a good time for us to continue with this conversation. Allow each party to go and think, and let's come back after a few hours when tension has been lowered. Or let's sleep over it, like we like to use that business jargon, and let's come back tomorrow. Or we will be asking someone else to come and mediate in this process because we seem not to have a tie to agree on this. So there are many ways to skin a cat or a rat or whatever it is, but it is important for us to design that situation. And that's why people nowadays, when we ask people in interviews, what's your leadership style? They say it's situational leadership style. I'm always, wow, okay, tell me more about your situational leadership style and tell me where you use it. And when I hear about use of emotional intelligence around, my ears open up and I'm interested and I lean in to listen more to what this person has to say. So discernment of using emotional intelligence in a situation and ability to be able to connect is important. It's very unfortunate when you think, oh my gosh, now this manager is banging tables and you have to apologize and it really goes pear-shaped. What can you do? And they are your senior. Very outburst, see what I said about people judging others using their own whatever. I cannot change, after all, I am the own. You just wonder. And remember, your rights are the same rights that you have. They just have more whatever. How can you support such a manager who have very little, low emotional intelligence? How can you support such a manager? Or are you such a manager and you need support? You could be. Anyone who would like to share their experience? How can we support a manager who has very low emotional intelligence? Anyone? Some ideas or what you have done practically, apart from just going and complaining in the background and say, hey, where is this Idika? Anyone?
I really don't know. I'm also waiting for someone to say something.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to say something on an experience that I had.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to have a manager who was behaving like that, and especially when we were in board meetings. Mm-hmm. And apparently what happened it reached to a point that it was a one-man show, meaning that it was him who used to speak and the rest of us would go into that meeting and just shut. Mm-hmm. Because you do not know what you'll say and when he will bang tables and when actually for us it was so bad because they used to use the F word. So one day I just said, Aki, this cannot continue, because I could see from where I sit as an HR, it's actually affecting the employees. So everybody knows that we're having a meeting and they say, Aki, I'll just go and sit. Mm-hmm. So one time I went to his office. After the meeting, we did have a meeting that day, and I just said, please, sir, could I kindly have a word with you? Mm-hmm. So what I did is I actually just went through feelings. Sometimes we get frustrated because of people not doing the right thing. And it's very unfortunate that even when you tell them to do the right thing, sometimes they don't do the right thing. But at the end of the day, so I talked about leadership qualities and in an indirect way. So, of course, I told him some of your facts, not all are factual, but sometimes these people don't look at it that way. So the way we also tell them and the method that we use matters. I praised him at the same time. I praised his facts, but I did not praise his behavior. Because I told him in a polite way, because he was my boss, that there are people who actually shut down when we shout. And what I did is that I actually lied, sorry. I won't use the word lie, but I gave an example of myself. And I said, there's a time I used to shout at people in my department and I could see things are not going right. And when I stopped it and I actually realized, when I empathize and I put myself into their shoes and I want to know what they're doing and why are they feeling like that and why are they behaving like that, I saw a change. And I can tell you, he said, yeah, I think, Jamila, you are right. That is it. I get very upset. I say, yeah, but the minute you bang the tables, I think now just people just go into panic mode. And we will not get it if we want to achieve what we want as the management of the company. And it actually did marvelous. It turned things around. So he actually asked me, I remember, so what do you think is the best thing for me to do? I said, in such meetings, because we are with the head of departments, I think let it even be their meeting. Let them tell us what they want us to do, so that it becomes more of an interactive meeting. And I can tell you, it was a turnaround that I experienced. That was my experience. Thank you.
Wow, you changed the narrative. Well done. So the most important thing is that who's going to be the swan? Who's the one who's going to be brave enough to go and say, I am going to talk to him? And sometimes you can have a joint meeting with the rest who are affected and say, who would like to go? We appoint you, Jamila, to go. We appoint you, Mary, to go. Or you go, John, because of A, B, and C. And you craft the script, or you can just say, no, enough is enough. And maybe I feel it is my responsibility, and you know exactly what you're going to say. The moment you open with the positives, and get people at the right time, then it opens a whole new world to someone. I'd like to allow me to give you feedback. We want you to be successful in what you're doing. We look up upon you to give us direction in this organization, and some of the things that you have done have a good turnaround. But remember that you're also working with people, and these people that are around you are the technocrats for you to be able to whatever. Not everybody sometimes executes to your standards and to how you would want it delivered. But let me give you feedback as well, like what Jamila said, in terms of how you show up to people. Okay. And if they're open to it, they will be extremely happy as leaders to get feedback. Because when you choose to be a leader, there are some things that behind your mind, that there are some things that you will be expected to do and expected to model. Talk even about your values, like what you did. And when you show up like this is what it calls for people. And people are not able to think straight. And sometimes you also lose people. So thank you. So sometimes it requires the approach, the method, what time, and you would hope that you are going to get better results at it. So you're coming from a premise of, we want you to be successful. We want the business to be successful. We also want you to make sure that people are able to work with you. Never easy. I'm not saying that it's easy. It's a hard call, but someone has to do it. Okay. Thank you, Jamila, for sharing that. Anybody else would like to share things that they have done differently?
I just wanted to
that
make
it didn't
a
work.
comment.
Yeah.
Mine is just more of a comment. And in the workplace, I hear what you're saying. The individual that definitely intimidate and spread fear amongst others. And when you dig deeper, you tend to find it's either a result of insecurities. It could be outside work challenges that they're facing, probably at home, or it could be also a lack of complete self-awareness. But it is also good to differentiate this and individuals that are actually bullies, because there are bullies in the workplace. And I just wanted you to comment on that.
Yeah, true. So they could be bullies and they'll always be bullies. And we've touched on that around what would be happening. You might be insecure. Your team might also intimidate you. Maybe you don't have the competencies and stuff. People come with baggage. Where people entering the office, everybody carries their baggage. There's no way, guys, that will tell people, leave your baggage at home. They will carry that baggage. If they have someone who is terminally ill at home, their spouse, their child, their mother, their father, whoever it is, their in-laws, you know, you can't tell them, leave that baggage. They will ask, they will come with it. And of course, those are difficult moments and difficult times. So we need to be more vulnerable. We need to be more empathetic around that. So thank you for sharing that. But they are outright bullies at the workplace. And how do we bring them to know that they are bullies, and we can't go, and they are maybe they could be the CEO ultimate, but they also report to a board. They could be head of department. Everybody is leaving and nobody will touch them. What can we do? They can't coach. They'll never be good coaches. So respect at the workplace, as we call it, free of harassment and bullying and intimidation and discrimination. Those three aspects have to be looked into. So how do we work with a boss who is an outright bully and causes mayhem, causes people to leave their place of work, and there's no joy and there's no happiness? What do we do? What have you done? Maybe they could even be the owners of the business. What can we do? Anyone would like to share?
Hi, can I just share my experience?
Yes.
Yeah, such things do happen. And let me tell you, particularly in government, especially in a scenario whereby somebody has been appointed as a CEO or a boss or a supervisor from a well-connected, connected, you could be a connected figure in government. So
yeah.
You are untouchable, you know, like that big fish. So like nobody can do you anything. And so there is nothing you can be able to do for me. I can do anything I feel because you'll not take me anywhere. Okay, you know, I think for a private sector it's a bit different, but you see, for government sometimes you can have people, supervisors, who really bully juniors because they think like you'll not take them anywhere. And I think it's only that nowadays there is some fear because of this modern technology. Somebody can be able to record you and post a video online, and that's when maybe the government can act. But I just want to say that we have such kind of people everywhere. And you see, what I did in personal experience, I created a sector technical working group. And this technical working group, one of the things they do is to give technical advice, particularly on matters to do with guys bullying the others in the office, not necessarily supervisors. It can be employee to employee. It can be supervisor to an employee, junior officer up. We also have sometimes junior officers who really have a lot of problems. And so I created a sector technical work group whose mandate is to give technical advices on disciplinary issues. Okay, they also help in welfare issues. They basically do a number of they basically deal with a number of problems. A very small committee or a group that actually come down and they do recommendations and they share to us in a bigger forum. And so the bigger forum now sits down and recommend, of course, go through the recommendations and see if they can be able to implement the recommendations, or maybe input, or maybe enrich the recommendations further. Recommendations can, of course, call for if there's a boss who's so bossy in the office and who's sometimes very biased. These recommendations can be possibly how can the same team sit down and pump sense to him and talk to him, or even raise the complaints in another forum. If there's, for example, a junior employee who is misbehaving, the same group can recommend for disciplinary action, which can be either through or written. If the same committee, of course, comes up with recommendations, we even have some workers who are not confidential. They take office matters out to the world and spread to the media. The same committee sit down and put recommendations on how to deal on all those cross-cutting issues. And they give advice. And in most cases, we've seen that working, because this is not one-man show. It's a group of people who sit down technical from different sectors, and they give advice. And I've seen supervisors adhering to this and respecting that, because it is not one person's show. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you. Well, and I'm
Hey,
sure many other, yes.
Can I say something, Catherine?
Yes.
When I'm just thinking about employee bosses who bulldoze you, and most of the time you find that when you look at, and especially now, when you're talking about mental health, it's sorry, but I have to say this. If you're in an organization that you feel, sorry, that you're not comfortable, you try to change things and they're not working. I went into another leadership course, and this is what they say. Sometimes it's always good to pull out, because at the end of the day, it is for your own benefit. There are bosses that you can't change. Who do I report my boss to? Yet he's the boss.
It's
so
true.
Would you rather? Yeah. So you try, and if you cannot, then what you do, and the best thing for your health, because at the end of the day, it's your mental health. Because sometimes we keep in organizations that are so toxic that at the end of the day, we end up being toxicated ourselves. So the best thing would be to pull out and say, you know what, I know it's not easy to get a job, but for my own health, I will pull out and get another job. I think that's what I would also do for my end. Thanks.
Yeah. So there are many ways to, and let me tell you something, Catherine, me as an individual, I detest, and detest is a very, very strong word, is injustice and unfairness. And sometimes from a HR perspective, I say, what can I do to make sure that within my sphere of control, I'm able to bring sense into a person who is creating an environment that is toxic. And as we have said, different industries will play differently. The ability to create that good environment is a responsibility of everybody. And unfortunately, this is a real difficult world, and it is not perfect. So sometimes we can choose that if it's not going to work, I am going to leave for my own mental health. And I have seen people who have been broken and they cannot think straight because of the harassment and the bullying that has gone on from their supervisor. Because also in Kenya, good jobs are few and far between. Even getting a job is it's work on itself. That's one thing. So we stay there thinking that things are going to change. But because of your own mental health, I've seen people saying, I can't continue. And we ask them, is it that bad? Yes. I'm going to break down and it's no good. Let me leave and God will fight my battle somewhere else. Okay. The other one of what we are saying is that are we able to escalate and put processes in place? But we can only put those processes in place in terms of what Jeremy has said, policies, surveys, putting a working group and coming and telling people, unfortunately, this is what has been said about you. And even if you're the boss, I keep on saying the same rights that I have is the same rights that you have. You just have different responsibilities. And I just keep thinking, and are you able to listen through them? And some people will come and say, I didn't even know I come out like that. And some people will come and say, I don't care. People have to toe the line. If they don't like it, they can leave. How many people are going to live in your reign? And what kind of legacy are you going to leave? I keep on saying those people, there's a problem. If you fall their pattern, even at home, they might just be ruling like that. How unfortunate. Our surveys, are you able to administer surveys and give you the right input and give you good feedback, which you're able to run and show data and call those people who are like that? Sometimes they are and these people are normally very condescending and very opinionated and very defensive, that you might not even be able to penetrate them and make a difference in them because of maybe the political mileage that they have. It might be their own business. They are the ones who have the final authority and say. So people work with fear under them. And sooner than later, people leave because of their bosses, and they say they still don't care. But if it's a good organization, then from a corporate point of view, we have better results and better outcomes. Because if there is hue and cry, action is going to be taken, and sooner than later, you'll have to be let go. I have seen that happening to MDs leaving, people saying, well, they were so bad, they were let go. I have seen supervisors leaving, but I have also seen someone, is it Josephine or Jeremy, who have said, I have seen upward bullying, where we empower employees so much because we are coaching, we are making sure that everybody is in their own space and something. And then what happens? We build a culture of upward building, where a supervisor cannot even tell you, you are late with a deadline, and say 2 days of late. Give me time, you're harassing me. No. So there's a big now clamor for HR to deal with upward bullying. And please go read about it, if whatever. It's the same as quiet quitting. In came upward bullying, and now HR is dealing with quiet quitting. All these things are talking around building environments which people feel that they can thrive. But people are leaving because of environments which they are not thriving in. And it is so intricate. We can sit here and get experiences of people who have been bullied, people who have been harassed, people who have not been able to be their best because of the kind of work that supervisors have put on their plates, and they are not able to cope. You know, I can tell you, I employed someone else some 10 years ago, and they were not able to cope with that because they came from a place where it was so toxic. They couldn't believe that an environment that this exists, but they had already developed high blood pressure, which kicked in epilepsy. You know, and last year they passed away, unfortunately. You know, because of a bad toxic environment that was created for them. And I asked them, so why couldn't you leave? Many years later, like 2 years later, when they developed the first episode of epileptic, and they were alone in their office because they fell, and we had a big bang, so they were right next to me, and we took them to hospital quickly, administered, and they came, whatever, we called their next of kin. And when they came to tell me, they said, Catherine, let me tell you, what happened to me, I don't even want to relive those memories. Then when we knew that, we stopped them. They were head of transport. So we stopped them from driving. We gave them a driver. We made sure that we proofed their office in such a way that if they ever got an attack, that they had a soft landing. You get what I mean? A caring employer. But of course, now his health deteriorated over time. I'd left the organization, but they couldn't believe it, that they found peace and happiness around an employer who is much more caring and whatever. So your mental illness, and they told me I couldn't leave because I had a family. I could not provide for my family, unfortunately. And it's always like that. So, but your mental illness sometimes. And anyway, they keep on saying the prayers of many people, God hears it. If anything, I'm a Christian, so sometimes I just think there's a higher being who will punish you, and karma is so real. And I don't know whether that is ever come to play or whatever it is, but what do you want to be known for? When people point you out in the society and say, ule, hata akikufa sitasikia kitu yoyote. Can you imagine people saying that they would never feel sorry for you and your family if you pass on? So there are many things that we cannot be able to exhaust, but if we have an opportunity to create that agile environment, to create standards and policies, to be able to call out bad behavior and to be able to help that person, please let's make sure that we are doing. If we don't, what else can we do? We are not trees, we can move. True. And we can give an exit interview that is very candid, and it can be used maybe to support others. Okay, great. Anybody else? Upward bullying, thank you for bringing it up. Quiet quitting, thank you for bringing it up in this conversation. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just saying that's really unfortunate and sad.
Yeah.
I think personally, I've had a boss who was a bully, directly bullying me and bullying other employees. But now, at least for me, I was able to speak up. And now, of course, I was speaking up also for employees. And what I struggle with the most is a boss who bullies you into shutting up, because they know that, the way I don't know if it's a personality disorder or they don't give you space to talk. When you start to respond, they raise their voice kind of to bully you into shutting down. And these are really real situations. Yeah, I've had that experience. So for me, I think I find a way. Either I'll write an email, because sometimes when you're talking one-on-one, you realize this person never gives you space to talk. So it becomes easier to just write to them and to tell them. Of course, you go through that email a couple of times to just make sure it's the right, you're not communicating, bitterness, but you're communicating just what went wrong and what,
Exactly.
Yeah. So
And
I've handled that way before. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah. It's the late Desmond Tutu. I like to use that phrase. Don't raise your voice, raise your argument. And that might not be, you might know that opportune time, because then they want to raise your voice. I say, okay, let's come back. Raise your argument, and raising your argument is with facts and figures and situations and times and whatever. It makes whatever. But if we all shout, we'll never get to where it is. So coaching gives us an opportunity for us to be able to understand who we are as people, because it is a skill that we have to develop, and it is a skill that, remember, it's a partnership. And if we want to be partners come together to bring to discuss a common goal. And that common goal, we all want to see it executed and to be successful. So when we start there, then it means that we have to gel. We have to build a rapport. We have to understand each other. We have to seed our egos. So coaching gives us that good opportunity for us to be able to get there. So if we're able to bring coaching at the workplace and bring it faster and for people to understand and for people to embrace it, then you have better results and a better working environment and create a better working culture. The other thing is that also people say coaching, no, it's another responsibility you are giving me altogether. I don't know how to do it. I'm not interested. I'm fearful, because you're just saying now, you keep putting in things, and you are not remunerating it for me. But when you sell coaching as something that even they're able to use, not just at the place of work, but for their own, then they start embracing it. But also coaching, there are the disadvantages of coaching to people, because it is not well introduced at the workplace, so it can tend to fail. Because it's also expensive if you're going to coach people. If you want to go for your diploma in coaching, it won't cost you anything less than 500,000 for you to be certified as a coach. All these the two institutes that do coaching in this country. If you want to do it out of the country, it's going to be more expensive. But of course, now the 3 weeks program, the 2 weeks program, where now it's bespoke for your organization, might be cheaper, and it comes out of your training budget. So don't fear. There are many ways, because like the government now, I'm sure has created content on what coaching is, on what mentoring is, and maybe they've given it to experts to be able to deliver it. So never worry. Like now here, you're going to, you are almost getting the whole content of what coaching is and how you can mainstream it at your place of work. So plugging into these webinars here and there, checking on the internet how it is done, asking people, having a friend who is a coach, there are many ways to be able to pick up the low-lying fruits of what it is, because what we are saying here, it's the same thing that is going to be taught at your coaching diploma class. The only thing is that now you will do more practical aspects to see how you coach and the kind of questions that you ask when a goal is set. So that's the only difference. But in 2 hours, you have it all unpacked for you here, and sharing these experiences and how you would now bring it to the place of work is where you actually build the muscles completely. Okay, so characteristics of coaching. you're eager to learn as a person. You're eager to learn. You're able to come out. You're more curious. Coaching is all about curiosity. You know, you welcome new ideas, welcome new ideas around innovation, about creativity. You are challenged to think differently, reaching your potential, get employees to to be involved in new experiences. Do we make that possible for time? Making time available. If it's on one-to-one coaching, if you have said that we are going to sponsor you for coaching, and you're not giving people time, whether it's you have internal coaches or external coaches, but you're not giving time. You are saying something, but you're not whatever. And if they're going to go across town, let's say you work in industrial area and the person has to go to coaching all the way in Westlands, if they have to leave 1 hour, 1 hour before, what does that mean in terms of them getting there? If they leave at 2, you pull your face and say, why are you going early? But they need a whole hour to commute to Westlands. You get what I mean? So we must walk our talk, and there must be enthusiasm. There must be zeal, something new. Imagine exploring your potential. Think about how Eliud feels when he thinks, well, I'm going to run, and for me, it's running beat. I have a goal to win this marathon under 2 hours. Just think about that enthusiasm that is created around his by his coach, by his team that helps him do that. And also as a person, we must come knowing that this is what we want to do. We must display some energy, some good energy. So for us to build that relationship with the coach and whatever, internally as a coach, as someone, as a supervisor who uses that coaching skills, we must infuse it every day in one way or another, challenging teams to think differently. Saying that John will be the one taking up this project. Tell us how you're going to do it. Show us and we will follow you. You are the one in control. You come and discuss with us what it is. So giving people an opportunity to be able to do the best that they can be. Okay. So characteristics, that is the same of what it is. So I just want to say some of the coaching skills we have said. So I'll run through the principles of coaching. I know we are running out of time and whatever. So the 7 key principles of coaching, one is empathy. The other one is questioning. The other one is giving feedback. The other one is creating creating trust and rapport building. And the other one is the ability to be able to be empathetic and self-awareness. So empathy, what is empathy? I've had someone talk about empathy here. Coaching skills. Principles of coaching. What is empathy? Empathy, insights, resiliency, integrity. Empathy, difference between empathy and sympathy.
Empathy is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Very true. Their shoes could be big and smelly and hot. So you still want to put yourself there. Empathy. Yeah. Putting yourself into the other person's shoes. What would I do if I was in their situation? And sometimes you don't have that answer. You have to think through and think through articulately and say, wow, it's a difficult time and I will walk the journey with you. So where we display empathy is a skill that everybody must learn, especially when you are in leadership. Because most of the time is that we are sympathetic. This is it. Have you sympathized? You need to bring the report. I have cast slack for you for 2 days. But between those 2 days, what can I do differently to make sure that you are bringing the report? Instead of leaving you alone, helping you, getting to understand exactly where are you late on this report? What can I do to help you? within these 2 days, what do you need? And showing that you truly care, instead of saying, okay, fine, I've given you those 2 days, and you think, okay, 2 days, you should be able. But those 2 days, what are you going to do differently to make sure that this person is going to make sure that they are ready to give in that report? The most of the time is because empathy is long-term. Empathy is everyday lived. That's the truth of the matter. And people get tired of having you in long-term. You know, the long-term, oh, you should be independent by now. You should be able to whatever. It's every day showing empathy in situations that call for empathy, you know. But because we want people to, well, you need to be more independent, you need to think and whatever. True, we need people, but empathy around it didn't work well. What can we do? What can we debrief? And making sure that we are not sympathizing, but more empathizing with the situation. There was never a bigger time for leaders to show empathy than during the time of COVID. There was never a bigger time to show trust, because we didn't work, we worked remotely, for people, for leaders to show trust, that they can trust me, that I'm seated behind my desk and I am producing results, the same results that I would produce if you are seeing me, you know. So insights, resilience, integrity, running your business in a way that it is like yours, and letting someone own it, you know, giving those insights while others, you know, critically looking at issues ahead of them. Resiliency, we say that we are a very resilient society, you know. When this is thrown at us, we're able to bounce back and be able to do better. Integrity cannot be underestimated, you know. We always say that one of my key values, as everybody says, I'm a person of integrity. You can trust my word. You can trust what I say. But because it's a universal value that is expected to be in everybody, not everybody is a person of integrity. If they are given a chance, they will cut cash shots. If they are given a chance, they will take things that do not belong to them. But being able to know that with integrity, I will share some things that I might not be able to share with others, but you are still able to keep them. And now I have turned a new leaf, for example. But integrity and confidentiality in coaching, just like in HR, you only share things that you are supposed to be sharing, because you will lose that trust and you will break that trust with someone else. So it is important for us to be able to do that. But there is the aspect of when can you breach that confidentiality? When can you breach confidentiality during coaching? Anyone who would like to try? You could go and find out that there have been things that have been gone against compliance. They've been malpractices. This person has done something that is against the law of the land. And you tell them, well, unfortunately, this one, even if we have set boundaries, we have contracted, but it has come to my attention and this has to be reported. Because also as a coach, you have your own brand to hold. You are supposed to report within the confinements of the practice that this is, I have come across, but you have already told that person and you have told them that you are going to give that information to the relevant parties, and you have, it's without shadow of doubt that that is the right thing. And they will be there when you are reporting that. You get what I mean? So you can't just go and saying, oh, I found this, leave. I'm not coaching you anymore. I have to go and report this. I mean, designing of emotional intelligence for you to be able to know whatever. When to report and how to report it, and the other person knows for sure it needs to be reported. And what are the repercussions of reporting this? You know, some of those things could be heavy, so you must design how that information is going to be relayed and what are some of the repercussions that are going to come out of there. and it's heavy, it's difficult. And that's why being a coach sometimes can be a difficult profession. The other thing, a good coach, where the rubber meets the road. Why a coach would charge you $400 for 60 minutes and they are completely booked, their calendar is booked, whatever, is the ability to ask the questions. Because you come with a goal. Let's say I want to be the HR director for my HR director will be retiring in 3 years. And I want to be ready. My goal is to make sure that I can be appointed the HR director and I have a good opportunity. I'm looking for a coach. So that is your goal. How do we achieve this goal for you to be able to position yourself when that opportunity comes or presents itself that you are ready? You know, the ability to stretch your coachee with the questions that you ask, the reality, painting the reality, ability for the coachee to come up with their own options and to be able to implement them and to be able to sustain them many years later, many months later, are the good qualities of a good coach. That is where the rubber meets the road. That is when you will know that this coach will well sought after. It's because people will say their way of coaching is very, very different compared to the way that the other person coaches. So it is important for us to be able to understand that the ability to ask those questions is the game changer for any. For someone to come and say, aha, coach, I never looked at it. I never thought. And ability to co-create, use different tools. Silence is one of the golden tools that you can be given in coaching. Not all the time that we have answers. Just marinate in that silence for about 2 minutes and see, wow, let the other person think. Silence is important. The ability to listen and to listen well. Because sometimes we don't listen. We finish people's answers. We finish people's questions, sorry. We make sure that we are interjecting them. We are not giving them. And sometimes it's so animated. But listening carefully and attentively and patiently, and the levels of listening to the said and to the unsaid, the verbal and non-verbal, is extremely important for us to be able to make good connection with that. So qualities of a good coach. And as we finish, feel free to interject. So myths and realities of coaching, what goes around and some of the things that we have seen in the past around coaching is that people just think, coaching is for losers as a last grab effort before being shown the door. We'll coach you, and if you don't, we put you on PIP and whatever. No, coaching is for winners who seek to get to the next level. You remember when we were defining the 3 aspects of coaching, mentoring and counseling, we want to get to upskill people's skills. We want to make sure that people are staying relevant in what they want to achieve in their career and in their personal lives. Another myth, coaching is only fulfilling leadership behavior gaps. Reality, coaching is about an impossible future and changing your life. And also what we see is that we want to make sure that it's not a gap. We are not filling leadership gaps. No. We are saying that everybody is a leader in their own right. You're a leader because you manage yourself. You must make decisions that are good for your own as an individual. You might have a family, you're head of the family. You might have a chama. You might head a department. You might head we are all leaders in every sphere of our lives. Sometimes it can be a short-term leadership assignment. Sometimes it can be a long leadership assignment. It's not fulfilling leadership gaps. No. Coaching is about giving yourself the ability to spur your potential as an individual, because there's so much to be done which you have not explored. Remember the phone analogy that I gave. You have such great infinite as an individual for you to be able to bring up your full potential in any area of your life. And the thing is that we want whole human beings, and whole human beings is knowing that we are not perfect. But how is your emotional state? How is your physical state? How is your mental state? those 3 areas of your life. How is your spiritual state? Because we ascribe to a higher being. So everybody ascribes to a higher being or believes in a higher being, whichever higher being we believe in, and most of us believe in God. Is that all those 3 areas, there's something that we need to improve on, because we are not perfect. And for us to be able to be knowing that we are work in progress, then it gives us a better ability to look at life-changing circumstances and life-changing things for us to become better human beings. So it's not about leadership, but it's about looking at those gaps and making sure that we are putting goals around improving those gaps that we have as individuals. Coaching is a separate leadership development activity. And this is where we all go wrong. That only the C-suite is taken for those fancy leadership trainings. You know, for 2 weeks, they go to a fancy place. They go to Mauritius to do a coaching session. Fair enough, good enough. Okay, but it is not a separate leadership activity. It is integrated in leadership for us to develop people and to get the results that we want. Given an opportunity, I always keep on saying, don't develop your C-suite for coaching. It is good to take them, yes, take them even for 3 days. Call someone to talk to them about coaching around the boardroom. Because they are the ones they will see the value and cascade it down to everybody else. They have all good intentions to go for that training, but they are so pressured to bring results into the business, they forget that is it a skill that they need to practice. And they miss that practicing, and it goes diminishing until it's at the back burner. But if you bring it at the middle level of your organization, where middle managers or even another level of senior managers, people who are the glues between the people who do the work and management, this level, and mainstreaming it in the organization, you will see a different result. Empower your line managers who are the ones who are supporting people, who manage teams. The snowball effect cascaded by line managers. Aha, we have a new skill. We've acquired it. We understand. Everybody in the organization understands it. I'm the one who's supervising these people every day. It is a different game changer. But if you leave it on the C-suite all the time, sometimes I just say, whoa, okay. Imagine all that money you spend on C-suite, spreading it across the managers, across the organization. You have a better result, an accelerated result that you will see benefits in the organization. C-suite, please train them. I didn't say that you don't train them, but given a chance where you should start is get the buy-in from the C-suite, give a teaser of what it is, let them even enjoy a 2-day, 3-day workshop of what training, coaching is, understanding it, and say the people whom we want to really train and are the middle managers, and then they are able to bring it down to the whole organization. Okay, last slide is a coach. The coach is a process consultant who asks questions from a distance. Remember, the coaching is like a sports coach in the playing field. In fact, this is where coaching came from, doing whatever it takes to win. Coaching is an activity that happens in annual reviews. It does not. Coaching requires continuous, but not continual communication. It's continuous feedback, like what we said, so that people are able to spur their potential. They are able to become independent thinkers. It's autonomy. Then the other side is that coaching is we are partnering together. We are walking this journey together. Think of a sports coach who really helps the people, the players become better. You know, it's not telling them hit the ball like this. In fact, that's where coaching is all. Play your best game. Let me see playing your best game, then I will give you feedback. You know, go to the pitch, go to your area, wherever it's swimming, wherever the activity takes place. Do the best, be in your best element, and then let's come and have a discussion. So coaching really works, and coaching will spur potential in your organization if it is done right. Okay, so that marks the end of our presentation this morning. I will stop share and I will go back to plenary and ask any questions, any answers around the principles of coaching, mainstreaming at the workplace, why coaching is important, and how we can create a culture of coaching. Any questions, any feedback, any input? What is the one thing then you are taking away from this webinar this morning? Anyone who would like to?
Thank you so much, Catherine, for the session. That was very interesting. What I'm taking home is the importance of mainstreaming the coaching and mentoring in the organization, because I think the organization will reap many benefits. We have learned them here, and we wish to continue doing the same so that we can create an environment that is conducive for everyone to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Mainstreaming coaching at the workplace at all levels, so that we also create an environment that is conducive to everyone. Well done. Thank you. Someone else? Key highlights of taking away. What is the one thing even you can do around your sphere of influence? And also maybe did the webinar meet your expectations? Anyone? Someone else? Someone else? Anyone? I see Jeremy asking whether we can get the notes. Yes, they will be on the ACHRP portal. That is where you can get the notes from. So I hope you're able to log in. If not, then you can always ask them to support you in logging to the ACHRP portal. Very insightful. Thank you. Thank you, Daniel, for that. Anybody else before we call it a day? Feedback? Anyone? Good takeaways from what we are taking away today? Thank you, Faith. Webinar met your expectations. Okay, great. So for me, I keep on saying that coaching works. Let's continue engaging further as HR practitioners. What can we do at our places of work? When you see, I'd like you to be more observant around listening more from your line managers as you support them as business partners, how they engage with their teams, how they collaborate their teams, when they are giving instructions, what kind of instructions, and try to be more agile around, if I did this, would it bring different results? If you did this, would it bring different results for you? And even at small places of work and your department, are you able to give people the opportunity to do it themselves compared to you giving them all the solutions all the time? Okay, that's my challenge to you. So on behalf of ACHRP, I would like to thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules. I know it's a busy weekend with the first week of December. Everybody's starting to make all the Christmas plans and the holiday plans for tuning in. I wish you all the best and God bless you. See you next time. Have a good weekend. Bye for now. Thank you, Wilfred. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Bye, everybody. You're most welcome. See you next time. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's a good one. Yeah. Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Take care. Then you can end the webinar. Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot.